Supporting Students Exposed to Trauma, Creating a Safe Place Within the Classroom by Melissa Flickinger, Concordia University, Portland. In order to really understand why creating a safe place in the classroom is important, one must understand the definition of trauma. Pickens and Teashop have defined trauma as any event that is experienced by an individual as physically or emotionally harmful because the individual perceives their life or the life of someone they love as threatened. In today's classroom, there is a large percentage of students who are dealing with trauma or chronic stress. And because students spend a lot of time at school, supporting these students has become an essential need in the educational setting. Traumatic events come in many forms. Even though the child may have experienced the event in the past, research shows that there can be lasting effects. Pickens and Teashop provide example of traumatic events, such as community violence, domestic violence, sex trafficking, serious medical illness, natural disasters, neglect, physical abuse, refugee trauma, school violence, sexual abuse, terrorism, loss of a loved one, and psychological abuse or mistreatment. As Pickens and Teashop remind us, the school environment presents youth with several stressors that can trigger traumatic stress reactions and interfere with their functioning and overall well-being and success at school. Administrators, teachers, and school personnel need to be aware of these classroom triggers and how they might affect the child. This is one of the many reasons why having a safe place in the classroom is a supportive strategy for trauma-exposed students. Classroom triggers can be yelling, arguments, fighting, people who look or act similar to the individual involved in the trauma, the time of year, anniversary, birthday of the person who has passed, or holidays, smells reminding them of the person or the trauma, music or sounds connected to the traumatic experience, physical touch, isolation. During the remaining slides, I will explain what a safe place is and its purpose, what it might look like in the classroom, and what strategies will be made available to the students when they use the safe place. What is a safe place? Kaidash defines a safe place as a designated place in the classroom where students can choose to go calm down, take time to process, or just be alone. Essentially, it is a place removed from the active class environment where students may go when they begin to feel overwhelmed or are triggered by something happening in the classroom. It is a place where they can go and feel safe as they work through their feelings. As Pickens and Teashop explain, students who have experienced trauma often display reactions due to the stress these traumatic events provoke. They manifest in many different ways, but can include difficulty concentrating, fatigue, depressed or anxious moods, negative thoughts, unwillingness to take on new tasks, isolation and avoidance, lack of enjoyment from activities. The purpose of a safe place in the classroom is to allow students to remove themselves from the classroom environment when one or more of these physical or emotional reactions occur and place themselves in a safe, quiet place where they can gather their thoughts, calm their feelings, and take a few minutes alone. If I were creating my own classroom safe space, I have many elements I need to take into account in order to really make it feel safe. First of all, because the age group is middle school, students might feel uncomfortable using the safe space because they do not want others to judge them or make fun of them. If you look at the diagram, you will see I placed the safe space in the back corner of the classroom. Students will not be able to stare at the person using the safe space because they will need to focus up front. I will talk about additional elements of the safe space I have created on the next slide. As you can see, this is a rough sketch of the safe space I would create. I would corner off the safe space with room dividers or accordion walls in order to make it private. Students would enter through an opening, but once inside, they would be completely blocked from prying eyes. At the beginning of the year, the safe space would be shared with students. They would know the process for entering, using, and exiting the safe space. Students would know the safe space is accessible at any time, but while they are in the safe space, they would fill out a piece of paper about why they use the safe space and drop it in a box only I would have access to. They can be as specific as they want or can simply say, I was getting overwhelmed or I'm having a bad day. It would just be a way for the student and I to communicate. Within the safe space, I would have a pillow corner with a couple of bean bags and decor pillows to give it a homey feeling. One of the ways a safe space is created is by making sure it is a comfortable and inviting atmosphere. There would be a large area rug on the floor to make students feel separated from the classroom environment. One of the additional strategies or elements I would add would be an art easel and/or whiteboard. Some students may find drawing soothing and a way to distract them from their thoughts. Additionally, There would be a selection of books the students could look at. I would have books about calming the mind, meditation, and coping with trauma, mixed in with picture books of places around the world or about nature. Oftentimes, images of foreign places and the beauty of nature can be calming and soothing. I would also have inspirational posters on the walls, along with posters about deep breathing and mindful exercises. Once a student feels strong enough or capable of rejoining the classroom, they would be able to do so by just taking their seat in the class. Rules about discussing a student who is rejoining the class would be in place to prevent any uncomfortableness or classroom disruptions. An additional element I would need to discuss with students would be the one-at-a-time rule. If it is truly to act as a safe space, only one student would be able to use it at a time. Also, if a student feels they will need to use the safe space for longer than 15 minutes, it might be a better idea to get them to the counselor for additional help. While some middle school students might try to take advantage of the safe space as a way to get out of the lesson, I believe that holding them accountable by telling me why they used it and then following up with a check-in will help maintain its purpose and effectiveness. Finally, providing a trauma-informed environment in the classroom begins with identifying the level of need among students and creating a system for using this information to develop a more psychologically and physically safe environment. And one of those strategies can be the creation of a safe space within the classroom when triggers or reactions occur unexpectedly in students who have been exposed to trauma or are living with chronic stress.